The Note Max is a wonderful e-ink tablet. It's a 13.3-inch e-ink screen, but I found that bringing it backwards and forwards to work with me was a bit much. Kind of because of the size of my bag, and also because at my work we do actually have to move around during the day, so I was having to pull it in and out of the bag more often than not. Here on the desk at home, however, it's a different story, because when you've got that bit more space, the Note Max can be a really nice companion for your note-taking, for browsing, and for writing, importantly. And I have talked for quite a bit about writing on the Note Max with a Bluetooth keyboard, but it really is completed by this, the keyboard case. And surprisingly enough, I'm actually pleased to see this little detachable pen loop back again, because with the standard book folio, every single time I was putting it in and out of the bag, I was losing the pen and having to dig around in the bag for it. So that should solve that. So let's just see how it clips in and try out the first few bits of typing. And well, guess what I'm going to be doing this afternoon then. Yeah, it kind of makes sense now, doesn't it? Well, this full-sized keyboard on an e-ink device, I think I'm going to enjoy this. But let's find out by actually living with it. It's a good time, isn't it? There's something fascinating about this ePaper technology. You know, I don't think it's quite as simple as the newspapers in Hogwarts. It's not that simple. It's all about it being comfortable with your eyes. It's all about it being a pleasant experience to read and to take notes and to write on. And this Boox Note Max was really, I was thinking this is going to be the one. This was going to be the kind of thing that was going to do it for me, and I was going to be using this. And I really expected to be recommending the Boox Note Max as the one for everybody, the best you could buy, but I don't think that I really can. And I mentioned in my last video on it that what would make or break this would be the keyboard case, and I just don't think they've got it right. It doesn't feel like the case fits together for a start. It doesn't feel like it was even made for this device in a way. If I just show you, it looks okay there, and there is a magnet. There is a magnetic connection between the device with the power button there, and the actual keyboard, but you can just see, look, that magnet is not strong enough to hold it, and it actually slides a good, I don't know what that is, like 3/4 centimeter in either direction. It just feels wrong. It just isn't clipping in, and that's not what the previous one did. That is not how it felt when you used the Tab Ultra C. When you close that, it's got a very satisfying, very satisfying clunk that it's closed there. I don't even think it is really, it just feels like it actually fits the device. The case fits the device. So for some reason, the device doesn't seem to fit in the case. There might be a clue in a moment as well. It's also got this little removable clip, which is like, okay, at least my pen is held on. But look, if I get it the wrong way around, it doesn't hold, and there's no like visual indicator that tells me I need to get it this way around. And when I get it this way around, it does hold. There we are. And that is okay. Now at least my pen is in place, but I mean, it's just not right. So we've got this annoying removable one, but it's not easy or straightforward to use as well. So let's just presume, okay, we're going to want to use this thing in its keyboard mode like this. Well, now it automatically rotates, sure, and I can input my pin with either my on screen or with the buttons, with the keys. That's what we want, of course. Okay, and now we have it in its keyboard mode. We're okay, fine. Doesn't quite fit. Maybe it's designed to go with a color device in the future, because there are, in fact, brightness level keys on here. So that's a thing that could indicate that this is actually not just the Note Max keyboard case, but actually their 13.3 keyboard case. And you think, okay, I can forgive it if it's got a really good typing feel. Okay, I can certainly forgive it. Let's get typing on it then. I'll go into Word, why not? And I've done a little bit of typing. Well, I've done quite a bit, because I really want to love this. Really want to love this. Oh, double press there. and it just doesn't, it just doesn't feel like a premium typing experience at all. And this plastic it's very soft plastic, so it's, I don't think it's really going to scratch the screen when it's on there, because the screen is most likely harder than it, but it's not got a nice soft touch to it. There's a kind of graininess, almost like it constantly feels dusty almost. And when I look at the keys, I don't know if I mentioned a double press there, and it's been mentioned by Jeffrey Moss, who says he's got these accidental double spacebar presses. And I've been counting, I've had that 4 times in the time that I've been using it as well. So it does happen, but it doesn't happen sort of all the time. So let's just have another little spread on it. No, that was okay, so I didn't do that. I think what it might be, it looks like the keys just aren't really quite set in the right way. That you can possibly just see it looks almost slightly bent, that spacebar key. It's not even like higher up in the middle. It looks kind of like it's higher up, sort of 2/3 to one side. And also the enter key, the shift key there, actually, can you see that? It looks like it's bent down at the end. And it almost feels like it must be supposed to be like that, but I just think that it's not. And the same on this shift key, so maybe it is supposed to be like that. But it isn't a good ergonomic feeling, that's for sure. It doesn't inspire you with confidence. Now also, lifting it around, and it's nicely secure in there at the bottom there, but where it comes off when you lift it, it comes off at the top there like that. So there's that issue with it as well. And I just think, you see that? So it comes off here rather than like at the bottom. I just think that there were better options for this as well. Then you think, well, okay, all right, I can live with it. At least I've got a keyboard case. It's an option. I can leave it in its normal case most of the time. But, it's not an expensive one. It's just what it is. But then you look at the price and it's like $150. You just think, well, for $150, I could buy a Bluetooth mechanical keyboard for sitting here on my desk, and I could buy myself an inexpensive Bluetooth one that could fit in my bag. I could, take my pick out of those two. And then I can just use the case that came with it, which the case that came with it is a really nice case. And there's nothing wrong with the orange leather of this. It's quite a nicely made overall case. It just doesn't seem to fit with the quality of the device. And that's been the conclusions of some of the other reviewers as well. And I'm just finding it not the premium experience that I was expecting, given the absolutely really premium experience of the Note Max itself. The actual tablet is great. But just from the get-go, it just hasn't felt like the promise that it kind of lives up to. See that? It's just coming away. Like, I think there's just too big a gap at this side. I think if it was meant for this, that should be right in there. I've toyed with the idea of actually putting myself a little spacer in there, putting a little foam insert or something to just allow it to do that. But and that keeps coming off here. Have I got the wrong way around, maybe? No, it was the right way around. It's a bit disappointing. So I've just watched Voya's exploration of this and the flaws, and he's talking about these, whatever you'd call them, little bumps there that clip into the actual device, and they are pressing on the case itself. So I really want to like this. I really want to use this, and I'm sort of committing myself to actually using it for a long period of time, so I can give it a full review as part of the review of the device. Well, I shouldn't have to do this at all. I do think this is, it's not good enough really, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually attach some little spacers. So I've just got some little, what they're called, command strip things, and I'm going to cut a little square of this material and just stick it here, 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 and here, just to raise the thing off the device, maybe make it just a little bit less likely to damage the screen. What would be ideal would be if I had some of that kind of microporous stuff that you use to sort of stick cases onto things, where it would also stop it slipping around. That would be quite cool as well. And I do think, I think that at the very least Boox could do would probably be to actually ship out something for people to stick on the keyboard case themselves, just to space it out. And just like that idea of sticking a foam insert in the side there, okay, they could do that, but you shouldn't really have to, should you? And you've paid such a price for this thing. Shouldn't really have to. Well, let's see how this goes. Looks pretty bad. The thing is, I do really want to write on this. I really want to be able to write on my Note Max. And I think I should probably stick with my own advice really and go for just stick with the Bluetooth keyboards that I've got and enjoy using those with the normal case. But yeah, I'd love this to work. Know the truth then. I think I've definitely made that situation worse. Although it's not sliding as much. Yes, it is. No, it's definitely made the situation. It's definitely made it worse. So ideally you need something even thinner than that if you wanted to do that kind of modification. But I don't think you should do that modification. I just think if you bought one, you should probably send it back. There's no delete key on it. And I find that really frustrating that, you know, am I the only one that like uses both backspace and delete like when I type? Is it just me? But I need both. I need both options. You know, I need both options all of the time. There's no delete key. There's just a backspace key. And that function, and it says delete there, but function and delete doesn't allow to do that. And alt and delete doesn't do that either. Maybe it's command. There's no hardware like trackpad off key, which I'd like to see. There's lots of little shortcuts labeled on there, but alt T is the trackpad off key. So that's okay. It's stuff like when you engage the keyboard, by default, the on-screen keyboard comes up, but you have to turn it off in settings. But that should be off by default when you've connected a physical keyboard, surely. So stuff like that just isn't as well thought through as it maybe could be. Now that trackpad and the whole keyboard should be big enough that you don't accidentally press it much, but I have accidentally pressed it a few times. Because we don't have the proper BSR modes, typing is a bit slower than it should be as well. So it isn't up to that scratch of the Tab Ultra C Pro, where typing is slick and fast. I do also think, you know, the debate continues as to whether you really want a dedicated keyboard case. And I talked about this a lot with the Note Air 4C versus the Tab Ultra C Pro. Which one would you get? Would you get the one that had the dedicated keyboard case if you were a typist? Or actually, is it better to just carry around a second keyboard? I think at this price, I know what I'd be doing. I really expected them to nail it, but I've been left a little bit unsure here. We've been waiting for an eink laptop for such a long time, and I really thought Boox would have just got this right. It doesn't seem like that level of device here yet. Sure, it's actually not an expensive device. Let's not forget they have delivered a 13.3-inch eink at £650, but I wouldn't add the $150 for the keyboard case on top of that, just for this laptop-ish experience. And that's disappointing because I really want an eink laptop that just works. I really want eink screens in my life because they're great, but there are just loads of great options for keyboards for far less than $150. I mean, you look at the mechanical keyboards you can buy for $150. It's incredible. And yeah, I felt sure there was going to be room for a full function row. Maybe the early units are a bit faulty with things like that double press, but there we go. And that's the difference, you know, with Boox, it's all there. It's just not fully formed yet. It's like the promise of this was just like so good. And in many ways, it is still so good. And I'm not complaining about the thing. I think still that it's going to be the right choice for many of you sitting there thinking that you want a 13.3-inch eink. You do, but it isn't what it could have been. Whereas Supernote, they made us wait. They made us wait for some time whilst they agonized over things like the pen loops, but they got it right. And Boox, they have given us this. And it's not where it could be. So I don't know, you can still decide whether this is right for you or not. I'm still living with it. I'm going to be typing on it. I'm going to be working on it for my writing use. I'm going to find out whether those things really bother me long term. We will see. But that's why Manta is the number one right now. It's because they got it exactly what they said they were going to do. That's what we got. Okay, so I will keep going along with that keyboard case, and I'll let you know how I find it after I've honestly used it for long enough, because I think that you do need to live with a thing to find out if those things that really just annoyed you at first, did they really properly annoy you, or are they actually just things that just kind of you think would be a nuisance, or are there things that creep up that actually really annoy you as well? How many people love writing on eink laptops? Yeah, it really just needs to feel like a MacBook. writing experience and super stable, absolutely, yeah. I'm convinced somebody's going to get that right in the near future. It might be Lenovo, you never know. Futura got the Note F4C and the Note Max from Amazon with the intention of returning one of them, but I think I ended up returning both and trying the Tab Ultra C Pro instead. Yeah, it's still a solid device. I mean, it must be due Tab Ultra C Pro 2 or something soon though, for it to, so might want to wait for that one. Yeah, the typing is a bit too slow on it, yeah. I don't like the flimsy Microsoft Surface type laptop thingies. I'd rather a strong clamshell keyboard case, one that really holds the tab firmly in the attachment for the keyboard case. Yeah, don't disagree at all with that. The one I liked was the Lenovo P12 matte. It was really good. You could detach the bottom so you could carry it around like a tablet as well without having to take the whole thing out of its case. It's quite good as well. I agree to a point here. It's terrible, but then I type on it for a bit and I'm like, yeah, I'm really enjoying typing on the big e-ink. So, you know, give me a moment for, you know, just to actually make up my mind, because I think honestly, it's broken. I think it probably needs a recall. I think you were right, absolutely. I think enough people, another comment that I've had on my channel as well from one of my members incidentally. So thank you very much, Oxcruiser, for that. That's very, very helpful. He's actually had 2 keyboard cases that both had that spacebar issue. So just for anyone to have that spacebar issue is not good enough really. And yeah, I've only had it 4 times, but really that does need to be solved. I think probably does need a recall, does need a rethink from Boox, please. You know, there's definitely a use there for some people. I've just been disappointed by the fit and finish. And if it was cheaper, or if it was part of a bundle, I'd say, oh yeah, you might as well, perhaps. So I definitely use delete and back. Yeah, I'm sure most of us do, right? It's just like delete one way or delete the other. You need both keys, don't you? It's so natural to have both keys. The question is, can you put the Note Max into your lap and it work nicely? Then I suppose is what we're getting at. Now, I agree with Sharbax that I don't like the ones where the flap comes off the device to the back. That one, you're never able to lap that. It's reasonably comfortable to lap. Reasonably comfortable to work in your lap. That's okay. I've done that a fair bit already, actually. I don't know why, but it doesn't feel, the top of it doesn't feel very sturdy, is all. The top of it feels a bit wobbly, like that. It's far from perfect, actually. And just putting it together and feeling it like slide up like that, you're just like, what? Okay. Problem is the photo is worse than what they have on the cheaper older products there. I hope everyone's doing well, enjoying the ink world and better eyes. Yep, absolutely. Except for me, who spent the entire day here just staring at these 2 LCD screens, making, you know, doing my editing on these guys. That's what my entire day has been, basically. Just staring at these screens. I've got 3 of them, making content, which has been wonderful. I am not complaining at all. But it's been, the nice thing about that is when you got an e-ink tablet and you can do a little bit of something still productive, you can do a bit of writing on a keyboard with e-ink, or you can just take yourself off and do your reading or something like that. Change your posture, sit somewhere else. I'm thinking of working on the RLCD on the standing desk behind me. You know, that's been really nice to be able to change that up and work on different types of screens. I think variation is the key to having better eyes, happier eyes. And Sharbax filmed the first e-ink laptop back in 2017. I think they have gotten it perfect by now. Yes, they did have that case you could slot in, didn't they? That was on the, not even the Note Air lineup, that was on the old Note lineup, wasn't it?